Mitt Romney has selected Congressman Paul Ryan as his running mate in the U.S. presidential elections. He's maybe the closest thing the Tea Party has to an economic policy or a fiscal policy wonk. Rob, does this mean anything new to the economic debate here?
Yeah, I mean, this is, you go back to 1992 when "It's the economy, stupid" was the sort of campaign slogan within the Clinton campaign, and this is sort of like "it's the budget, stupid." I mean, that's sort of really what that puts out there.
At least it should be.
It should be, right. And I think Ryan came up with a pretty. It's radical in many ways. I think Newt Gingrich calls it sort of right-wing social engineering, but his plan was had many credible components. It was a counter-proposal to the budget that Obama had put forward, right, passed by a majority in Congress. So, it's a pretty real discussion that's going to get started here, so long as Romney, as he's done with everything, doesn't disavow, this discussion.
Right, so that's an interesting question, Dan. He's Romney's running mate. He's not the candidate. So, what are the differences? If we're thinking Ryan has this somewhat credible plan, is Romney taking it up?
I think in certain aspects you're going to see Romney's policies be Romney's policies. Tax is a good example. I don't think he's going to get very extreme like Ryan would like to. But I think where Ryan does become key is when the negotiations begin, assuming Romney wins. As soon as you start talking about that, right, the grand deal, right? Yeah. Ryan has a lot of spending ideas, how to cut spending, different ways to reform Medicare and entitlements and that sort of thing. That's where, and he also knows Congress, which is very important. He's been in Congress for a lot of years. He can.
Right. So he's a young guy who's born.
Look, he's had a baker's dozen years in Congress, yeah, so he understands parliamentary process. Right. He's despite this much discussed opposition with the president on a number of issues, he's actually someone that people on the Democratic side I think admire and respect and can work with. As long as the issue is he doesn't kind of get in there and try to ram through some incredibly regressive plan, which is really the problem with the Ryan plan. It's horribly regressive on the infirm, the elderly, and the poor, and it's incredibly generous to say the Pentagon and the wealthy. As long as you find a compromise, which is really the whole point of this, nobody is going to be able to run this country if they aren't able to reach a grand compromise, if they aren't able to do that next year, because all of these issues related to the fiscal cliff will just come cascading through. And
there is real spending issues that most people feel have to be dealt with, at least in the medium term now, maybe not immediately, but pretty quickly. Yet, even in Ryan's record, a lot of people talk about a lot of principle, but there's quite a bit of politics. Well, he's staying off defense. He's
sure, yeah. He's a Republican in Congress that needs to be reelected and that needs to want to rise up with leadership. He has certain things he has to say. With that said, he's going to be a vice president, which means he doesn't have any actual power, right? He's going to be Romney's, number two. He's going to help Romney negotiate. What he's going to negotiate are Romney's ideas. Now, Ryan's going to have his ideas of his own that he's going to probably, inform Romney of and try to push. But at the end of the day, he's negotiating on behalf of the president.
Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll see how the Romney-Ryan ticket goes, and we'll have more breaking views tomorrow.